All right, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're so happy that you decided to join us and take some time today to join us for this webinar that we here at Click and Pledge are presenting in conjunction with Nonprofit Tech for Good. My name is Bethany Teague. I'm the Director of Storytelling here at Click and Pledge, and I know we have a number of our customers that are joining us. So nice to see some familiar names in the audience. But for those of you who are meeting us for the first time, again, welcome. We're so happy you're here. Click and Pledge is an all-in-one fundraising platform for nonprofits. We like to call ourselves the Nonprofit Fundraising Command Center. For our customers, hopefully you've had a chance to familiarize yourselves with our AI-based tools that we introduced into the platform in our latest release in October, and you're familiar with some of the work that we've done in this space. But for our non-customers, AI technology and how it can help empower nonprofits with their mission is something that is really important to us at Click and Pledge. We've thought about it, talked about it, worked on it a lot. So we hope that this webinar is really useful for you, not just as we head into end of year giving this year, but fundraising in general for the months and the years to come. I want to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Kamran Razvan. He is the founder and CEO of Click and Pledge. We know him around the office just as Kami. He founded Click and Pledge 25 years ago, so he has accumulated a wealth of knowledge as he has worked for many years in this space. So he's going to be taking questions toward the end. So if you have any questions that come up during the presentation, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we will do our best to get to as many of those as we can. So with that, Kami, all you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Let me share my screen. Everybody hopefully is seeing the screen. Perfect. I see that we're there. AI, I guess fundraising in the age of AI. That's a very big question. It's on everybody's mind, and everybody keeps talking to us about, do you do AI? Do you know what AI is? And my answer is always, I'm not sure what you mean by AI. It's a big word. It's only 2 letters, but it involves a lot of load. This is a very loaded word because it includes intelligence. So let's talk about this. Modeling the model donor AI in action. Let's start with an example. Everybody has heard of Netflix or has a Netflix account, has a Hulu account, Amazon Prime, Amazon Movies or books, Goodreads. When you go to Netflix and you watch a movie, it says the people that have watched this movie also liked this movie. Chances are great that over time, this actually recommends a movie that you like. You like romantic comedies, you like Westerns, you like, whatever genre that you like. It essentially recommends something within the same genre. How does it know? How does Amazon know that the people that have read this book are also reading this book? How does it know? Do you know? And this technology is pretty old, right? When Amazon started, I think actually in 1970s, 1980s, this whole algorithm was brought on by some recommendation engines. But I think Amazon was pretty much first in the big commercial space. And Netflix started doing this with the movie space. But do you know a donor that has donated $100 is like the other donor that has donated $100? And are all $100 the same? If John has donated to you $100 and Jane has donated to you $100, are these two the same? Does that make John and Jane the same? Not everybody on Amazon that has spent $100 on books is like somebody else who has spent $100 on books, right? What book? So what we want to model today, and I want to hope that at the end of this talk, at the end of this whole presentation, you take with you is number one, I really hope that you end up with more questions than answers. Let me actually see if I am sharing. I think I stopped sharing. Okay, now this is perfect. Now, I want you to take home one idea. Where is your data? Where is the data coming from? And when they're all linked together, what do they mean? AI is a great synthesizer and summarizer. And we'll go through this and we'll see how it all comes together. Let's give you an example. This is an SMS page of a mobile phone. I typed in there, English is important, but math is im. Look at the guesses that it is giving me, the suggestions. It says I am is I am is I apostrophe M, and I am is important. A human coming in the center is going to read this, English is important, but math is important. That doesn't make sense. What does that tell you about the AI engine? It essentially tells you something very simple. It is guessing based on the last word in the context. It has no concept of the context. It's a guesser. It estimates the probability of that this word is important. But LLMs are masters of pattern recognition. They don't understand anything. If I say the dog jumped on the, it's going to guess, is it bed, is it couch, is it train? And where does it get this information? From the collective of English texts that it has read, right? It goes to the internet and it is learning, it is summarizing, it is synthesizing, and it's trying to make sense of it. Now, the word sense and all of that stuff requires cognition, and that is a whole different context. We will deal with that later. But LLMs are masters of pattern recognition, not of understanding. They can predict the next word, not the next idea. What if I wanted to design this t-shirt? English is important, but math is importanter. I love this t-shirt being a math guy, but would it have guessed this? Because it hasn't seen this before. If it hasn't seen it, how will it know? Then the question becomes, knowing all that there is out there, in other words, having all the data in the universe, is it going to make you intelligent? My answer is no, right? As the saying goes, a parrot in the court can recite a lot better text than a parrot in a dumb house, right? Whatever that is. So repetition, regurgitation is not intelligence. So let's take this into a different context. We have AI. We have a question. We have billions of dollars of data centers crunching numbers. We expect a drought coming. What should we do to make our harvest not be impacted? What do you think today's AI, as is going to tell you? It's probably going to tell you something very simple. Okay, use crop that is drought resistant, use less water, talk to the people that share the same waterbed with you, and all of that stuff, right? Essentially things that we know. It's going to tell you that. Now, take this entire billion-dollar infrastructure, move it, use Star Trek technology, transport it to 2025 BCE. What will you get? It's probably going to tell you, sacrifice 5 cattle, 5 sheep, 5 goats, because last year we sacrificed 2 and it didn't work, right? Because it has access to the tablets, to the myths, to the stories of the time. So the fact that it knows what it knows, theoretically, it only knows what we know. And what we know is a little hard for us to comprehend fully because we just don't have the brain power to save and memorize and digest and summarize and synthesize everything continuously. AI just is going around the world and is doing everything in real time every time. So now, what is intelligence? And all of this is important when we come to the context of fundraising and our data. So what is intelligence? Intelligence requires persistent memory. Within your context, what does it mean? Persistent memory of data, right? Being able to reason. How do we reason? When we link the data together. And intelligence in the absence of action is of no value. Intelligence is simply one simple definition: using the most with the least amount of energy and least amount of data. So if we are to be intelligent, we need to make sense of what we know, what we have, and be able to transact and actually implement and take actions in real time. If you look at all of these paradigms, all of these concepts that I talk about, is your organization capable of doing this, taking action in real time? If I know everything in the world, I know a cheetah is going to eat me and I am the gazelle. I have seen other gazelles being eaten by cheetahs. If I don't act on it, what is the reason? What is the use for it? Why did evolution give us intelligence when it doesn't do anything? Our brains are nothing but a prediction engine. And our intelligence should be a prediction engine to enable us to act to make this prediction come true. So if we deal with this concept, let's talk about this within the context of donors, the context of patrons, the context of the average person on the web that is coming and is trying to, is on your website. So let's see some examples. Towards the end of this webinar, everyone, what I will be doing is I'll do a workshop. We'll give you some files. We go through ChatGPT. We can do the same thing with Gemini and other AI engines. But I will take you to, we'll send a file through Zoom, and we ask you to download it. You don't have to use it, but we send it to you just in case you have a problem seeing it on the screen. And all of these files, everything I discuss, you will be given in a zip file. You can go download it, including all the papers and all the books and everything that I talk about. You will have that in a list of references. Will you be able to use all of them? I don't know. I always love to read what I don't understand, right? So, because it gives me a path forward. If I understand it, then I'm just regurgitating. So I try to challenge myself in seeing things that I don't understand, so it gives me a path forward. So all of that documentation, all of this stuff will be given to you. Everything is open source. So now take a look at this page. These are not made up forms. This is our team has gone on the web, just gone to many different websites of nonprofits and do a screenshot. All of these 3 forms are screenshots of a nonprofit somewhere on the web. So please look at this screen. There are 5 buttons on the screen that is on the laptop: 100, 250, 500, 1,000, 2,000. Look at the second one, the pink one, orange, whatever, I think is purple one. $50 to $2,500. Look at the green one, $100 to $10,000. Please tell me, who are you appealing to? If a person is capable of donating to you $10,000, should he or she be given the option to donate 100? People usually click not on the lowest one, on the second lowest one. Probably in this form, the probability of hitting $500 with a high donor, high profile donor with higher giving potential is a lot higher than somebody choosing $10,000. If somebody is capable of donating 100, should they be given the option of 2,000? And if their giving potential is 2,000, should they see 100? Are your forms adaptive? Do you know who your audience is? Do you see the elephant in your data? We all know of this, the elephant in the data, right? 4 scientists, essentially, I think the story goes with 4 blind individuals touching the elephant, all different parts, and trying to make sense of it as to what it is. What are the chances of identifying this elephant? If you have touch points of a single data in your ecosystem, of your interaction with the donor, the last time you had friction with this donor, your last time you generated entropy, if you have not collected it, if you have not embraced it, All that has lost is lost. So in graduate school, we used to have this on our board. When in doubt, start with a spherical cow. I'm told not everybody knows this joke, which to me is a surprise. I love this joke. Of course, geeks' sense of humors are not the best, but here is how the joke goes in case you don't know it. So this poor farmer has a problem with milk production, tries to figure out everything, cannot, goes to a local university, asks for help. A panel of experts, scientists come together. The chairman of the group, the panel, is a theoretical physicist. People that I admire and I have utmost respect for. So this theoretical physicist comes in after like 2 months of studying, going back and forth, recording data, running data simulations. They come to the farmer and say, we have a solution. The farmer gets excited, says, okay, what is the solution? He says, first, we assume the spherical cow in a vacuum. I'm sure you're all laughing and you're all very in tears, but it's funny. We first assume a spherical cow in a vacuum. But there is a lot of truth to this. Think about this. We remove all the constraints. We will remove all that there is a cow and start with a unit of cowness. And then we apply elements to it. We start with the unit of donor. I'm not saying assume your donors are spherical donors. Maybe that is what it is. But imagine a donor without any attribute. And now we try to model it. Okay, before we get into modeling, please keep this in mind. Box, famous statistician, there is all of this stuff is also on Wikipedia. All models are wrong, but some are useful. We have to always keep this in mind. Everything science is useful, but cannot possibly be dead accurate. We cannot know everything. As of now, this smaller we get into quantum world. Now we get into probabilities. Then we get into a point of saying probability tells us this could potentially happen. Again, in graduate school, we would always say there is a high probability of a potential maybe, right? So we're going to model these donors with one thing in mind. Who is more Jane and who is more John? Or is John more Jane-like? Jane is more John-like? Because it doesn't matter in a global setting, right? Who is John, Mary, Susan, Kate, right? We want to know who is John-like. John, we know, has donated $1,000. We know Jane has donated $50. If our forms can adapt to Johnness and Janeness, then I think we have a better chance of appealing to the audience of one, right? So let's take this forward. I'm giving you several examples, and then we'll move forward into the workshop. Are all $100 bills created equal? We go back to the beginning that I stated. I essentially brought this up. There are certain things that are really important, right? In any kind of data analysis. There are 3 factors, right? RIR, recency, importance, and relevance. So let's think about our donors. $100 one-time donation, John, 2 years ago. $100 donation by Jane. Excel, the biggest curse a nonprofit could possibly have, is sorts it, all of this stuff up. Jane and John are right next to each other. So is John Jane-like or Jane John-like? Okay, as far as the total is concerned, they're both $100. Let's take a step back. John donated 2 years ago, $100. Jane has been giving me $5 over the last 2 years, or let's say $5 a month this year. So Jane, this year, $5 recurring donation, 5 times 12, 60. So now $40 came from attending an event, bought tickets for two, and also went in and bought two tickets for her kids at $10 each for the summer camp. Now, are these $200 the same? No. If I were to choose one, I will choose the $5 for 12 months and all of this engagement, whereas John's 2 years ago donation of $100 is truly, it is there. I can email them, but these two are different people. So let's think about this. Units of information transmission. What are genes? Me and my brother share the same genes. That's what my mother tells me. I don't know, but okay, let's say it is true. We share the same genes, 50-50, that mom and dad, right? Genes are the units of transmission of reproduction, hereditary transmission or transmission attributes. We have our genes. We have our DNA, RNA, all of that good stuff. So gene is the unit of hereditary transmission. What about memes? Richard Dawkins came up with this idea of genes, of memes, which is the unit of cultural transmission. In The Selfish Gene, also it discusses about the gene concept, but in the concept of meme is very critical. Meme is the unit of cultural transmission. Our stories, our myths, our traditions, our family history. All of these are memes that we carry on from generation to generation. This is how stories are passed on. This is perhaps why we are human beings, right? We pass on stories. We are about stories. In the absence of stories, we are truly like plants, right? But it's our stories that helps us transmit this information. At Click and Pledge, we're introducing the concept of beans. Or as one of our team members from Romania says, genes are pronounced genes, memes, and benes, right? And they're all Latin-based. So bene is the unit of goodness, is the transmission and inspiration of storytelling, of essentially doing good. Now, let's go back to our story of John and Jane. If bene is the score of generosity and engagement with your organization, I ask you, John and Jane, who has a higher bene score? Probably we choose Jane. Okay, I hope so. Now, when we talk about modeling a donor persona, this bene score, how does it come? Where does it come from? It comes only from attributes that I have about Jane, I have about John. What are these attributes? This equation is very simple equation. All it says is the estimation of this donor, whatever the attribute is we are collecting, is the sum of all his or her attributes times the weight assigned to this attribute. For those of you a little math inclination, these are essentially a simple Bayesian equation, a game of probabilities, and we add a little weight factors to it. Think about this. This is how our brain functions. We assign weights to things and act on those weights. I want to go to vacation. Should I go to Timbuktu, or should I go to Hawaii, or should I go to Puerto Rico, right? I assign weights to each. For one, I have to fly. For one, I have to do this. All of these are assigned weights. We decide we live in a Bayesian world. We live in a probability world. So that's what we do. We assign weights to attributes. We sum all of this stuff up. And if the equation is done the way that we have programmed it, the sum of every factor at the end is 100%. 100% probability of bene is really not practical, right? Somebody that just gives it all away. So these weights are probabilistic, and they're important in the way we will function moving forward. Now, let's think about this. These are all attributes. Where do these attributes come from? From your data, right? Now, these are stuff we do at Click and Pledge. Intelligence is about your sensors, right? If I just take my brain out and put it in a jar, how intelligent will it be? In the absence of sensors, how can it know anything? Intelligence requires externalities. It requires my connection to the external world. How are these connections coming into the game? Are they making donations through my events on Zoom? We'll show you some little example here about our app in Zoom. Is it coming through our event when somebody swipes a credit card? We in our swiper one. Pledge TV is somebody watching a video and making a donation. Now think about this. A lot of people we know have their videos on YouTube. People watch it. What's at the end? In the middle, they're also being exposed to commercials, to advertising. Somebody is watching your video, is seeing advertising for another nonprofit, for breast cancer, for this, for that, right? So if we are to really, truly see, we are losing so much information. With our products on Pledge TV, you watch a video, you make a donation, and we are streaming the video. We know when the person clicked on the video, at what time, what was the emotional valence of the video at the time they made a donation. What made you persuade them to give up their hard-earned money? My friends, nobody wakes up in the morning looking in their wallet and saying, I have $10, to whom should I give it to? They probably think about buying the next latte at 72 degrees with half cream, not sweetened, but sort of sweetened, right? They think about that more than just coming in and giving their money to someone. So they have to be persuaded to give up their money. And do you know what you were doing at the time they got persuaded? Are they visiting your website? How many times have they visited your website? What page did they donate on when they give? We go to websites and nonprofits, they have a donate button at the top, and I click it, I go to a page. That's information lost. What if I can donate on every page by clicking a link and making a donation? Now you know what page they came from. What was the emotional valence of that page when they donated to you? Again, this goes with our pay quickly. It's on every page you can put it. And donation has absolutely nothing to do with a single form sitting on a single page. That is so 1960s. When you donate through a letter I send you, what do? We take that letter, make it one page, you go to that page. That's not where we are. So now I go to all of this. Think about this. I can have one donation form and it gives me data. Okay, I go buy milk. Is that a cake? No. I buy sugar. Is that a cake? No. I buy flour. Is that a cake? No. Every ingredient, eggs, is that a cake? No. We put all of these elements together, it becomes a cake. So more is different. Anderson is a theoretical physicist. He has a very interesting paper. I've included this paper also in the package you will get, which essentially says more is different. Hydrogen is not wet. Oxygen is not wet. Two hydrogen and an oxygen put together is wet. Where did the wetness come from? Right? Now, if you look at your donations, your donation forms, your interaction, where are you creating entropy? The estimation of a donor, the estimation of this donor being Jane-like or donor or John-like is based on the attributes that you have collected from these interactions. Have they donated to you through SMS giving? All of these are the stuff that we have our customers take advantage of. Have they donated through SMS giving? Have they donated through Swiper One? Or do they have a fundraising page? Now think about this. Dunbar number, 150, classical social scientist Dunbar came up with the formula that we have engagement capacity. Our brain does not have more than 150 engagement capacity. That's why I always smile when somebody says, I have 10,000 followers on YouTube. I say, you don't know any of them. It's not about having connection. It's about knowing them, which is a problem we have. So what are these attributes? Every touch point, are they raising money for you? Did anybody that donated to their fundraising page, have they become a fundraiser? How much have they raised? Have they become a fundraiser to somebody else donated to them, became a fundraiser? That's 3 degrees of separation. Most of you live in communities that people are within 2 degrees of separation away. It's a simple equation. You can look it up. If the world is 6 degrees of separation, it has to do with that 150 that Dunbar came up, which is essentially logarithmically going up, right? Everybody 150, you reach the population of the world. Now, at Click and Pledge, we have 25 years of data. We're soon getting to the workshop. We have 4 years, we have 25 years of data. We have split the country into 4 zones. Zone 1 through 4. 4 being the highest giving potential, 1 being the lowest giving potential. We've also analyzed a lot of donation forms. And these donation forms all have attributes of the frequency of the donation buttons that people have clicked. So we've done correlation between the zone and between the buttons selected. So we've come up with an algorithm that detects what the donation buttons should be based on the location, the zip code of the person, and the attributes of the profile of this giving person. Remember, you have 2 types of donors, those that you know and those that you don't know. The don't know ones are the ones that are coming to your website, clicking, and you don't know who they are. But you can know certain things about them. So let's go to this workshop and let's look at this page in here. So before we do this, I ask Kate, if you don't mind, please send the donation form, the generic donation form, to everybody in the audience. This is a generic donation form. This campaign, as you see, you should see these buttons: $5, $100, $1,000, 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. This is what a lot of people have used, are using. This is the type of form that you see everybody has. This is not the right form. So I want to show you how you can calibrate your forms, how you can take the data with the file we send you, generate your data, and you can customize and essentially synthesize your data to get a form that is intelligent. That's the purpose. So look at this here. I hope, Kate, I'm sure we sent the link. Let me see here. Yes, please click on this link. You should see these buttons. Now, I want you to go to this website here, yourorganizationnamehere.org/IRS. Look at this form as I am coming down. It should auto-detect your zip code. And it may not know your exact zip code. Remember, the only thing we know as an anonymous user coming on our website, on your website, right, is the IP address. The IP address is that of the ISP, right? We don't know where this person lives. So this is the center of your city, of that area where the ISP is located. It's better than nothing. Remember, all models are wrong. Some are useful. Is this better than no information? Yes or no? So how many of you have donated this much money in 2022 based on your zip code? If it doesn't find your accurate zip code, just click on the get average donate, come here, enter your zip code and ask it to search for this. We are providing the link to the IRS website that you can download all this data. In the Excel file that I'll send you shortly, there is a tab at the end called IRS data. That is all the years and the average donation for each zip code for that donation, which we essentially took from that hodgepodge of humongous amount of data in the IRS records. And we took the charitable contribution column and we took the number of filers and we divided one over the other. That's a number. Is that a good number? No, it is a number, right? I would love to see the median number, but we don't have access to it. So this is the average. Is this useless? Not really, because if somebody's average donation is $5,000 on that zip code, somebody else is $20,000, they're coming from different demographic in locations. Is that everything? In the absence of information, that's the only thing you have, right? So capitalize on it. Now, if you are seeing this, hopefully you'll see whether your donations in these years match this. Now, Kate is going to send you another link. Click on this link. This link has an adaptive AI in the backend. You can calculate all of this manually. If your forms are intelligent, they can actually detect this themselves. But I'll show you how to do this with AI, with ChatGPT shortly. But I want to see you, to make sure you see the big picture, then we narrow it down. So does everybody's form show 375, 200, 150, 75? This is probably different. Some of you may see this if you're in the same profile of communists, right? Kate is in Maryland. Bethany is in Blacksburg. I am in Blacksburg. So my zip code is 24060. We are in a college town. Majority are students with no income, but there is professors and the football coach, which essentially changes everything, right? It's all about football, not education. So if you think about this here, does this form adapt to your zip code? Hopefully it does. Now, let's go to ChatGPT. And Kate, would you please send the file to everyone? Did it work? Hopefully everybody got it. I don't know. Okay. Would you please, this is the Excel spreadsheet. We put it on our SharePoint with anonymous access to read, right? So you can copy. We're going to give you, there's a zip file, you will be able to get this with all the column descriptions and everything. But if you look at this file, there are 4 tabs. Let me go through the tabs so you see. So this is the profile tab. Again, all of this is randomly generated by ChatGPT. We asked with Gemini or ChatGPT, yes, one of those two, I don't remember. But we ask it to generate 1,000 donors with first name, last name, address, and zip codes that range within our zones of 1, 2, 3, 4, essentially the entire country. So these are random stuff, and I hope it doesn't match anything you have randomly, right? So this is information that everybody has from any donor. I'm not asking you to have anything more, right? And joined year, how many years? Now, how many years they've been active with you? That can have a weight, right? Do they have a fundraising page? Are they fundraisers for you? And all of these values that they have collected on your behalf during their social platform engagement. This is their giving history. This is all the products, all the touch points, anywhere you've created entropy. These are all the attributes. These are the amount of donations they've given you in totality. Of course, we also have this as time-based. Time is critical. If your donors have given money in the past and something here, you cannot possibly add a lot of weight to the history. You have to be able to make your analysis more weighted towards recency, because the past is the past. Just because somebody donated $10,000 to you doesn't mean they can donate it again. Which brings us to another topic. Right now, we are living in a world, in an environment in US where our government is shut down, right? So we have government employees that are not collecting salary, that are not getting paycheck. Should we not consider an email to them and say we are all in it together? If you wish for us to pause your donations until you're back employed, until the government opens up, would that not generate good faith? So maybe these are stuff that we can get from this and essentially pause. A little income loss right now may go a long way, right? So if we don't know, we don't know. But are these stuff that we can consider, right? If somebody is having to continuously have $25 taken off from their credit cards and they are not aware of it and they're trying to figure out what to eat, what's going to happen in all these stressful times in their head? I'm not there. I cannot figure out what they feel, but I like to consider myself to be in it with them together. So these are the files, these are the information, and I just uploaded all of that into ChatGPT, this file, and then the survey, okay? We asked ChatGPT to come up with questions. We created these questions. We asked ChatGPT to come up with these questions. And then we also, these questions are essentially designed around the core concept of Benet. So are they giving? Are they networked? Are they this? You can see this is just suggestions, right? I'm just trying to show you where you can get your sensors. And this is the IRS data. All of that is publicly available. You're more than welcome to use it. You can use it any which way you want. I uploaded this file, and all of these files you will get in the zip file. So I've uploaded the file, and I'm going to simply ask ChatGPT a couple of simple questions. Show me my top 5 donors based on their Benet score and my mid and low Benet scores. I've already told it in that file that is definition of Benet how to consider what Benet factors are, and you will get this file. So now it's going to come up with upload the file here. Oh, it seems like okay, it already identified. So let's say yes, go ahead with option A. Again, the person in the middle, right? I am sitting in the middle. So I'm asking it these questions based on the file. Keep in mind, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT and Gemini, they're great at synthesizing and they're great at summarizing. So this is what it came up with, right? So it created a score for me based on the algorithm I gave it. Now, let me see. Give me my top 5 based on giving total and bottom and mid 5 based on giving total. So now I'm asking it, first I asked it to give me Benet factors, Benet scores, and now I'm asking it to give me based on the amount of total giving they've done. And you have access to all of this. So now if I go to here, right, this is the profile. We've provided you. Sometimes ChatGPT does not copy this URL correctly. But here is the URL. So I can come in and click on this URL for this person, and it loads up. Everybody has a separate link, right? So here it is. This donor form is auto-completed based on their link, and their donation buttons are 250, 125, 150. Remember, everyone, this is this form. This is the exact form. These buttons are designed in the administrative page of for this campaign. This form is that form based on their customized link, based on their giving history in real-time calculation. So if I go to Excel and I just scroll down, right? All of these are the same campaign. Let's just randomly click on one. Okay, 1,250. So this is a different person, right? This is a different persona. This is a different giving profile, different giving potential. And this is based on, the first time we sent it to you, it was based on your zip code because we don't know who you are. Now we're sending it to you based on the donor that is in our database. Now we know who you are. This is your giving history. This is the same form as this. This is the one we created. This is the form that our AI engine says this person should be given to. 4 buttons, different amounts. Now, while we are doing this, when we go into Q&A, I ask my partner in crime to post the Givent. So Kate, would you please start Givent? Givent is our app for Zoom and soon to be released in Teams. Again, as you see in here shortly, we are going to show you how you can make contributions in a Zoom meeting that goes directly to you. This is all part of the profile, right? Soon a message is going to appear on your page, and you will be able to share your screen. I mean, not share your screen, but a donation form should pop up on your website. If you scroll down, there is you can make a donation. This is a test account, everyone. You're not using a credit card. When it is a test account, the form will auto-complete with dummy credit card and information. The name should come from Zoom. So your first name, last name, and email is coming from Zoom. And because we know who you are, you're authenticated user, we don't need to know your address, phone number, or any security check. So if I make a contribution to this, it is going to go into the streamer. You can see the streamer. And if I stop sharing my screen, you actually now should be in a position to also see a marquee under my page, which you can enable or disable to show the amount of donations that are coming through the system on this Zoom event. Now, I'm not selling you anything. Believe me, that's the last thing I like to do. But I'm showing you a friction point between you and the donor. Now, think about this. Let's take this one step further. Givent is designed so other companies, let's say your board members, all they have to do is install Givent in Zoom Marketplace and enter your Zoom Givent code you give them. Our customers can set up unlimited number of Givents, and then they share this Givent code. Any company can sponsor any nonprofit they want by just simply entering the code you share with them. Now I know, you see, now I know people are donating while they're attending in an event. Now, let's take this one step further. The person that is sponsoring this is on your board. All of these are employees or people that are in that meeting of this company. Are they a $5 donor or are they a $100 donor? I don't know. What's the weight of a donation coming through Givent? These are sensors. This is not magic. Every sensor is as good as something else, right? All these come together. Intelligence is about connecting the dots. How many dots you have, how much you can connect them. And so if you go right now, go to your data, get all the donations and call it with columns and come up with values that are based on where these donations came from. Upload it to ChatGPT or Gemini and ask it questions. This is where the person in the middle comes from or comes in. Anyways, I talk too much. I can go and talk forever about these concepts. I just passionately love this concept of data modeling and AI and all of that stuff. So I ask Bethany to join the call and ask any questions and see what are the questions asked, and I can answer any questions you may have. And we are not under any time constraint. If you wish to stay, I guess my next meeting is at 3:30, so I have another hour and a half. If you wish to stay and brainstorm, talk, again, as I said, all of us are in this together, and tomorrow is a whole different day. And tomorrow, different new things come up. And it's a great time to be online. Bethany, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here. So we had a few questions come in. I think when we had the map pulled up. So the first one is, when you say average donation, do you mean average of a single donation transaction?
No, this is the average amount of giving for that zip code per person. Okay, what does average mean, right? I live in a college town. Our football coach makes $10 trillion, right, for having people run on the field. And we have students that make $5 an hour, right? So on average, everybody makes $500,000. It's meaningless, right? The median is the better number, but we don't have access to it. So what we have in here is the IRS forms. You can download these forms. We've given you the link. If you come, let me share my screen. This page, yourorganizationnamehere.org/IRS. There is a link here. It takes you to the IRS website, and all of these statistics you can download for 1998 to now. Essentially now means 2022. They have a column called charitable contributions. They have another column called the number of filers. We've divided one over the other. Now, that is for that zip code. What does that mean, right? Oh, I didn't share the screen. What does this mean, right? This is the link that if you go here and you click on the IRS individual tax, it goes here, right? What does that mean? It essentially says you live in an affluent area relative to the place that it is less affluent. If the average donation around your area is $10,000, it says something about the houses that are there, the people that are living there, right? So for all practical purposes, it gives you that spherical elephant for that zip code. Is that of no value? It is. It is of great value because I don't have anything else to go by. It's better than saying $5 to $10,000. Did I answer the question? Hopefully, if not.
So then another one came in around that time as well. So it says, I see that the file includes zip codes from across the nation, very diverse donor file. For donor file that is much more local within a city or a region, could there be a way to do this with more pinpoint precision?
The data is not available, right? If you go to zip code in IRS, the only thing we know is that zip code. Now, map line, this site here, has a lot of demographic information. We use this for our analysis of our backend engine. The subscription that includes the demographic and average salary and everything else is about $5,000 a year. It may be outside your budget, but this can be very granular. I can take this. I asked them to join us in this talk, but if you look at my screen, am I sharing my screen? No. Do you see my screen? Yes. Now, if you look at this zip code here, it can come here and I can essentially just say, okay, don't show me everything. Show me just, let's not go to Alaska, let's say Arizona, right? It takes a little time and it's going to just zone it for Arizona. It's going to analyze the data, and we have uploaded our data to this. So you have a treasure trove of data. I actually love this question. You have the answer. You don't need this. If you know the donor base you have now, by analyzing that donor base based on the street address or granular configuration, you can say people that are in this street are John-like. People that are in this street are Jane-like. You have the data. Upload it to ChatGPT and ask it questions. It can find the relationship for you. Without data, we don't know anything, right? All is lost. Without data, without any information, everything is a spherical elephant, a spherical cow, even though an elephant is more sphere. But anyways, next question.
So we have a couple related to privacy concerns. So this one says, are you concerned about irritating donors who might suspect they are being profiled? I feel that way when I make airline reservations. They say they don't profile, but I get different schedules and fares when I search logged in versus not logged in.
I am not concerned because everywhere I have absolutely zero concern about privacy. I honestly have no concern about privacy. People have concern about privacy, and then I watch them go to grocery store, enter their phone number to get 10 cents discount. Your privacy is a hoax because you are willing to give it away for 10-cent discount on the dollar at your grocery store. You go to your gas station, enter your phone number so that you get frequent mileage, frequent gas points. Why do you think they're giving you the discount? They're profiling you. Is that bad? No, I love to live in the age of data, because when I log into Hilton, when I log into United Airlines, it knows me. And when I choose the path, it tells me exactly what matches my airport that is next to me. I have no concern anybody wants to know anything about me. Needless to say, I'm in no social networks because I just don't like that many connections. But I have no concern. LLMs do not know who you are. Anything you do on an LLM is totally private. There is no way, zero way, based on everything that I have read and I know, for OpenAI or Google to know anything about Gemini or your questions and answers. All instantiations of these events, of these LLMs, are local to you. Tomorrow, it may be a conspiracy coming out and saying, oh, they did all of this. But based on all that I know, LLMs are totally local. We actually love to have our donors, have our customers, we're going to add a feature that says, please share with us your questions. Because remember, we have to train the LLM. In the absence of questions, how can we train it? It's not an all-knowing. Everything is a query. Everything is a looking up a knowledge base in some sort of neural net. And then it takes that data, puts it into a transformer, comes up with a paragraph of legible text in your language. So if you share information and if you're not worried about, I wouldn't worry about LLMs knowing everything. The more they know, the more they can help you. And LLMs is all local. Any other questions?
Yeah, so we had another one kind of come in along those lines. Any ethical considerations about uploading donor data to ChatGPT? If I were a donor, I wouldn't want my information uploaded.
It's not uploaded to anywhere. You have the data in your OneDrive. You have your data in an Excel spreadsheet. You have the data. When I started this company, let me give you a funny story. When I started this company back in 1999, when I wrote the first version of the program, people were emailing me their credit card, because they did not trust the internet. That's funny now. That was in 2000. How do people think in 2050, 25 years from now? You have Alexa at home. It's answering your questions, all of that stuff. The data you have in LLM is all local. It is not global. ChatGPT cannot possibly, they have absolutely zero interest. They only care about you telling them that the answer is correct, so because it's learning behavior. I am not concerned. If you have my data, use it. Any other questions? And remember, this feature that we have, you can actually enable or disable. You don't have to use it. These are essentially features on our website that in the admin, our clients go in and enable the AI IntelliBooster, which essentially adapts to who you are. You don't want it, don't use it.
So we had someone ask, when you say that LLMs are local, what do you mean by that?
Everything is learned local. The engine is running your algorithm in a very isolated instance of LLM. And actually, it doesn't have any memory that can last. Once you close your account, the memory is lost. Research this. I have a lot of links in the references that we'll send you. If you ask the LLM right now information about the donor that another nonprofit has, see if it can give you any answers. Go ask your LLM who is Kamran Razvan. It's probably going to tell you I'm the CEO of Click and Pledge, because it goes to our website and it checks it out. It may tell you what I do. Maybe it says, okay, here is a scuba diver. He does camping, he does backpacking, overlanding, right? Maybe it sees me in areas where I've put comments. It can't tell you who I've donated to unless that organization has posted it. And again, I don't mind. Sometimes I leave them comments and I ask them to make it public, because I fully support everything I support. Any other questions?
So a follow-up to that was, but it does save the information if I have an account. So you're saying it goes away only if I close my account.
That it's because the memory is persistent within your account, right? If I come here actually tomorrow, it will forget the questions I asked today. This morning before this talk, I went there and uploaded these files and defined the Benet factors and everything else. It did not remember. OpenAI does not, Gemini definitely does not remember. And then OpenAI, you can open a project, it knows the conversations that you have not deleted. Let me show you. So if I go to OpenAI, where is the, I think it's this, right? In the OpenAI, I can come here and I see here, it's human factors, CMP. I do a lot of stuff with scuba diving. I'm an instructor. So I also, it's a hobbies, right? So I ask questions. And sometimes I even try to explain something to students and I say, okay, can you tell me a little simpler way of explaining this equation, this concept? I brainstorm with it a lot. ChatGPT and Gemini and we're going steady. I'm on this daily, not because I want to ask to write letters for me. That's the last thing I want to do. Nothing that it writes is personal. All my communication is personal. But when I'm brainstorming on equations, on everything, perfect model. It writes the code, it debugs the code that I've written, it gives me suggestions to make my code better, to make my formulation better. I just absolutely love it. I'm so much into it. Any questions? Any other questions?
Well, we had someone ask, will this work outside of the US?
Of course it does. OpenAI, and as long as it supports it, then yes. The examples I gave is essentially because this here, the map line, right, is this information. This is US, but it also has other countries. In Click and Pledge, we have records of all naturally, our customers are in Canada, in Europe, Eurozone, Britain, Great Britain, and not many in South America, but the problem we don't have access to the tax information in other countries. At least I haven't found it. If you have access to it, you have a public site that has that information, please send it to me and we will gladly include it. But we have access to IRS records. We've provided you the link. And if you are outside US, go to the click and pledge your organization name here.org/IRS, and then put our zip code to just see it. It's 24060, to just get an idea. If you have access to that data, please email me. My email is my first name @clickandpledge.com. Any other questions?
So we had another one come in. If we don't have a lot or enough data in Click and Pledge, how is this going to be helpful? Can we use IRS suggestions on our platform? How do we install or add it to our donation page?
Okay, that's the $10 million question, right? Or $1 billion, as Austin Powers said. But you have the data here, right? I don't know what your forms are. If you're not a Click and Pledge client, I don't know, right? I don't know your platform. In Click and Pledge, it's a checkbox. You enable it and it works. But if you don't have it, you have the data. Maybe one thing you can do, right? As an idea, look at the form we sent you, look at the bin numbers, create bins of the different giving sizes, and then come up and say in your form, that's not a bad idea. Go to your form and say, select your state or enter your zip code here. They click your zip code, you write a little program, and you can do it with ChatGPT. Just say, on my website, I have this thing in WordPress, and I want to have a form that when I enter the zip code, it tells me a value from this Excel database, Excel sheet. You create 4 or 5 donation forms, right, with different amounts, and based on the selection of the zip code, send them to that static page because it's not dynamic. I don't know. I'm not familiar with your environment. In our system, it's totally automatic. If I determine who you are, if I know who you are based on your giving history, our forms will adapt. It actually runs a wave function for the donor. It actually determines, okay, in the past, this is their behavior. Now it's this behavior. Now, imagine the following scenario. This is actually something that happened to us. 2010. In January, I don't remember the date. It was middle of I think it was January 10th. I think it was. Haiti had an earthquake. Our client was raising money for Haiti, and their website crashed because everybody went there to make a donation. It happened at like 1 or 2 in the morning, I think. I don't remember the details. And their website crashed. We kept trying to contact them. Our network alarms went up that this organization is getting too much traffic. So we went in and checked it. And then in the morning, they transferred all their DNS to our forms. But anyways, imagine that your form was adaptive to recognize that the traffic is more than frequent, is more than the normal. There must be a reason. We don't know what the reason is, right? The traffic is too much. Imagine your form steps up your donation forms, 1 step. Sees more traffic, 2 steps. Again, people choose the second or third button. If those buttons are always $25, chances of you to get a lot of donations on the second button it's a lot higher probability to get that donation at the second button versus the other buttons. Just facts. Maybe I'm wrong, right? I always start my assumptions that I'm wrong, then try to persuade myself that I'm right. Or I am in the right spherical cow. Are your forms adaptive? Are your forms in real time? If somebody donates yesterday $500, right, or is raising money for you, and all of a sudden their donation forms are hot, should their donation forms be changed? You're not telling them anything. You're just suggesting they can always choose the other field and they donate something else. If you go look at Starbucks, look at all these restaurants right now, even I think one of these days, somebody, a police officer giving you a ticket is going to ask for a tip, right? Everywhere now we see tips. Look at your own behavior. What do you click on? It used to be 15%, right, are tipping in US. Now the screen shows 20%, 25, 30%. That means a third of your payment for the food, they're asking you to donate. Starbucks does this. Look at your own behavior. When you're in line, just watch how people interact. I'm watching everyone. I just watch how people are interacting with UIs. To me, it is astonishing. They don't even ask questions. They give 20% tip. What if you add that to your forms? Our forms allow you to add covering overhead. Let's put ourselves in the position of the donor. You are a nonprofit. You're raising money, not to raise money. You're raising money to do your mission, to provide food, to provide shelter, to provide all the good things you do. Now, you have overhead. You have the facade, you have the office, you have phone, you have internet, you have salaries, you have payroll, right? These missions don't get accomplished without a human interaction, right? What if you calculate and say our overhead is 10%? Not your credit card. I just blows my mind when somebody says to cover our credit card fee. I say, well, how's that different from telephone fee, from internet fee? Everything is cost of doing business. Your overall expense ratio is somewhere around 10%, let's say. Why don't you add that to your donation form that says to make sure, not say that you're covering the cost of the credit card processing. Say to ensure 100% of your donation goes towards the cost, maybe ask you to consider adding additional 10% to cover our overhead. Majority will. So $100 will become effectively $111 something. The 10% because it's effective rate, the net effect, with the rates and everything. So you can do all of this. Are you doing it? Now, let's go to the person that donated to you. $100, $100. This $100 came one-time donation. They didn't pay the fee. The overhead cost. This one paid $90, but paid the overhead fee. Which one do you think has a more Benet score? I would say this one. It understands your cost of doing business, right? So next time when you send them an email, it better be a more personalized email. Maybe they're all the same, but right, good old Animal Farm, right? George Orwell. All animals are the same, some are different, right? Some are more equal than others. I always say all donors are the same, but some are more, our donors are the same, but some are different, right? So think about this stuff. All of these are touch points. All of this is data you're losing. Anything else? I can go on forever.
So after we ask ChatGPT to analyze the data, how do we then get our page to reflect that analyzed data specific to Jane's and John's?
It goes, again, since you don't have that automation, you may use this data, right? You may use this data, create customized forms and address it, or come up with the easiest way to do before you go there. You come up with a profile of about, maybe look at your giving, right? You can do this. Ask ChatGPT, right? Upload. This is what I would do tomorrow, or even right now. Go download a report of just a column, right? Of all your giving history, just dollar amounts. Just create dollar amounts and zip code. Then tell ChatGPT to create bins of all of these zip codes based on the giving amount. So let's say 4 bins. Anything more is just too coarse. Just stay coarse grained. You don't want to be very fine grained. So go in and split the bins into 4 bins. That's what we've done. We looked at 5, 6, 7, and it was just similar, right? There is not much differentiation to make that kind of granularity worthwhile, right? We cannot come and say $10, $12, $13, right? 10, 50, 100, 200 are the same numbers as 10, 25, 35, $50. These are the same numbers in nature. So create 4 bins, and now you know that your donors that you have belong to which bin. Then when possibly you send them an email, say, would you consider donating $50, and send them to your form. Maybe you can create your form so that if the total value is in the URL, it can read the URL and adapt the form to show $50. That's just like read server URL, right? I mean, that's, if you have a developer, they can easily do this. It's 1 line of code. And then go in and look it up in that table and say, okay, this is $50, just show 50. Now, please do not use donor information if you are not having security stuff. Click and Pledge, because of our volume and everything, we are PCI level 1 certified, right? It's the highest security standards. It's what your banks are. So when we provide that data in line, it's through very secure interactions. So don't store this kind of information on your web server and have a lookup to an Excel or Access database. You get hacked. Now, this form that we sent you, right, that is auto-filled, you will have the form. You have the form right now in this Excel spreadsheet. If you click it, the donor information is auto-filled. If tomorrow Jane changes her name from Jane Smith to Jane Smith Jones, she clicks on her link, the form will change to Jane Smith Jones because it's connected to our Salesforce implementation, our click and pay suite, and it grabs the information in real time. We can gladly chat about this. These are individual bases, but the ideas are the same. If you ask the right question, the answer should be easy. Any other questions?
So back to the map data, it says, if my organization is in a community with many billionaires, won't the average gift be unrealistic?
No, you're not asking them. If, let's say, you are in a community that Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and I don't know, Elon Musk are in the same neighborhood, that would be an interesting neighborhood to live in, by the way. But if you're in that neighborhood, all it says is that this belongs to a zone 4 giving. Now, it is a very good question because I ask you the following question. I love to answer questions with a question. Two people live in zone 4. Zone 4 says what? The average giving is $20,000, which essentially tells me what? The demographic, right? This zone, this zip code, on average, donated $10,000. But that doesn't mean Jane donated $10,000 or Judy donated $10,000. I add another piece of information. If you look at my board, let me stop sharing. This is the equation that you had in the slides that we gave you, and you have it in the recording, you can see. It's a very simple equation. It's just this one repeated, right? It's just a weight and a Binet factor, donation number, a weight and SMS giving amount, a weight, how many times they donated in SMS giving, right? So these are all factors. Don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about all of this. It's just syntax, right? The concept is important. This is what gives you an estimation of the donor. All of this stuff you're getting. Now, if John is 60 years old, getting $150,000 a year. Judy is 22 years old and is getting $150,000 a year. And is 25. Who do you think has more disposable income between Judy and John? John 60 years old, 150,000. Judy 25, 150,000. John 60 probably has the house paid for, whatever, has children in college, has grandkids, and has more disposable income. Judy, 25, is probably getting married, probably has kids, soccer game, summer camp. So the disposable income for the same amount of salary is different. So what if I had the age of the donor? I did a presentation a while back. The topic of the discussion, my presentation was, would you go on a blind date with John1234 at AOL.com? Because there is a lot of stuff you can say from the email address, right? AOL back then, the average age was 55, 60. So there is a lot of information you can get, but if somebody has been with you for 20 years, let's say they started at 20, 25, they're now about 50. What do you expect their income level be? Versus somebody that is giving you for 5 years, and let's say we make certain assumptions, right? The spherical cow. Start with the spherical cow. What do you know? The more you know, the narrower fine grain you can get. At the very high coarse grain, you don't know anything. But wouldn't it, and then can you determine, it actually is interesting. I love this. I did a test, asked ChatGPT to come up with a survey that based on which I can tell the age of the person that has completed the thing. Came up with 10, 12. I passed it around the company. I said, guys, take this survey. It was not that far off. Just by their answer to those questions. In scuba diving, we have I learned this actually two things the hard way. When I teach, we have an acronym for those of you scuba divers, it's BWRAF, right? And it begins on the marketing material as begin with friends, and at the end it's like okay, right? And final okay. But we changed it over the years to Bruce Willis ruins all films. BWRAF, Bruce Willis ruins all films. So I kept using this acronym forever. Guess what? Right now, when I'm teaching and I use this Willis, they ask me who is Bruce Willis. So now I've changed it to big white rabbits or fluffy, right? So think about this. By passing very interesting surveys, you can come up to ChatGPT and say, give me an age estimate. Based on age estimate, you can come up with donation estimates. Then maybe your forms can be a little more adaptive to the person you're talking to. I learned this the hard way. I once told somebody, I said, Walter Cronkite said this, and another one was, and they said, who? I said, oh my lordy, Walter Cronkite, right? Any other questions?
So we had one that went back to the discussion about ChatGPT. and saving the information, et cetera. So the follow-up was ChatGPT. I create a project and it does keep and build on that.
You can, with ChatGPT, it builds on that profile of you. I build on ChatGPT myself, but the memory is within your scope, is within your account, is within your session, your thing, your account, your user ID. You don't believe me? Log out, log in as a new person, right? And see if it remembers what you've done. I have 100% confidence. The answer is no. I rarely am 100% confident. To me, integers are meaningless. So anything else? Test it. I mean, you have my email. Send me an email and we'll gladly chit chat. Log out, log in as a different person, ask the same question from the project you have. Number one, all your projects will go away. Any other questions?
I think that seems to have wrapped it up.
Perfect.
Unless anyone else has anything.
Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Our team will send you the files. We will have the recording of this on the website. You will get a link to that site because we'll show the thing, and also a link to a zip file where all of these files are there, including the papers. We have papers.
Actually,
go ahead.
Sorry,
please.
we just had one more come in.
Sure, please.
If I could throw that in. So let's see. I understand the concepts with the data being used dynamically, but practically, do we need to engage Click and Pledge to do these things? I know many nonprofits who do not have an employee responsible for website design and coding. Perhaps I just need to spend more time with the materials to understand the implementation.
Set up a time. I mean, if you wish, I can gladly get online and we can chat. I have knowledge. Anything we have on our website is public domain information, right? Amazon came up with one click. 2 years later, everybody had one click. The beauty of our species is our shared knowledge, right? We have no problem. Naturally, the code is in the backend. The servers are in the backend. There is the database. There is algorithms. There is all of that stuff. Even if I give you the code, there is nothing you can do with it, right? So the question is, talk to your provider and see if they have adaptive forms. Please keep in mind, biology and evolution is our greatest lesson. If you don't adapt, you die. So it is too dramatic, I know. But if you cannot adapt to your donors, you're not taking full potential of your donors. Adaptation is the entire reason we are here. So adapt. If your forms don't adapt, find out what is it costing you. Let me give you an example. I once gave a talk at a political event. The last time I presented to anything politics, and I asked our company, I said, if I ever discuss doing a talk at a political conference, shoot me. But I asked them the following simple question. I said, you have one donor that gives you $1 million, or you have 1 million donors that give you $1. Which one would you choose? This was a simple question. You have no idea. 95% said one donor, $1 million, because it's a lot less work. I said, ladies and gentlemen, you're here to get elected. You're not here to raise money. 1 million people are saying that they are going to vote for you. I think you're done. So think about your donors. If somebody doesn't know you, if you adapt to 5, 10, 15, 20, even $1, let's say everybody that gets your call, your email, donates to you $1. That dollar is worth a lot of money. Google is giving you everything for free. You are not paying $1 because it wants your information. How much information are you losing by giving up that $1? So imagine you do a $1 campaign, recurring donation, $1. Probably the cost of collecting that $1 in the long run is zero, right? Is zero. Zero is a good number. In the absence of zero, no other number has a definition, right? So zero is a good number. So your cost is zero, but you've collected the dollar, you've collected the information. 3 months from now, say, would you please change your donation to $5? In our recurring updater, you can send the link to people, they click it, they can update their recurring amount. Great. Let's not worry about it. Comes Giving Tuesday, a week before Giving Tuesday. Our forms adapt. You can tell the form, in our forms, you can go to our forms and say, between this date and this date, elevate my donation forms dynamically. Set it at the beginning of the year, go home, go enjoy margaritas, milk, whatever you wish, and go to Hawaii, sit by the beach. A week before Giving Tuesday comes in, the donation forms start changing their amounts. Come end of the year giving, changes its amount dynamically. You don't have to change anything. Towards April 10th to April 15th, people have done their taxes and say, okay, what if I donate another $500? My tax drops by $2,000, right? What if your forms changed on April 10th to a higher elevation amount? Somebody that is giving to you, donating April 14th, may be thinking about taxes, right? So why give them $20? If somebody is making a difference, if their taxes is being changed by $20 donation, that's not what they're doing, right? It's probably going to donate about 500, 600, 1,000, right? Whatever. If that kind of money makes a difference, $20 is not going to make a difference. So your forms better adapt to it. Are they adapting? If not, wake up on April 10th and change your donation amounts. You always have the other field. Giving Tuesday, change your donation amounts. Make the second option the selected default value. Don't put more than 4 values on your donation forms. It's our data. 25 years of data says this. It could be totally wrong. Remember, all models are wrong, some are useful. Think about the spherical cow. Next.
I think that is officially it.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. As you see, I love talking about this stuff. I'm not in the world of academics anymore, but I just love to make sure people understand concepts based on fundamentals. Fundamentals is everything. Everything else is syntax and changes daily. Have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, you have my email. If you wish to see a demo of some of our products, be our guest, please send us an email. You will get a form and you can schedule a talk with our training department. They can gladly show you. And everything else is pretty much up to you. And anytime you have a question, email me directly. Don't be shy. I love to talk, as you see. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. And the best wishes for Giving Tuesday and end of the year fundraising. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.